Good evening. It's Angie from Angie's Little Dumplings, and it is Sunday afternoon. It is about 7:42 p.m. And I thought I would do a quick little video here to share with you my baby Esme that I just finished. And also for those of you that will be taking my air dry painting class at IDTS, I wanted to show you the kit that we will be painting. So the first thing I want to do is show you Esme. Um, Esme is right here next to me. Now, I can tell you already, because I've played with the camera a little bit before I started the video, and the coloring on my camera is not grand. So Esme looks much better in person than she does on my camera right now on my camera screen, but this was as good as I could get. But this is my little Esme. I bought this kit on the secondhand market. I missed out on her when she was actually released. And I paid quite a bit more for her than she originally sold for, and I have been holding on to her for a little over 2 years now with the intentions of reborning a baby for myself. I actually have a nice little stash of keeper kits that when I find kits that I really love, I will hold on to them saying that I'm going to make that baby for me. And over the years, sometimes I lose interest in a particular kit and I'll just go ahead and reborn it and sell it, or I will use that kit to trade or sell for other kits. But Esme, of course, is one that is really special. Those of you that have gotten an Esme know that she's a different and a unique baby in that she was the first baby that Laura Lee Eagles did with the all vinyl body cover. And so I really wanted to keep this baby. Also, she doesn't do a lot of open-eyed babies, and that's another thing that makes her unique. She also is a larger baby. In recent years, Laura has done smaller babies, and so Esme is one of her bigger babies. Esme, Miracle, Knox, and Serenity. I actually have all those kits, and they're all larger babies, which I like a little bit larger baby. So Esme was, I had such high hopes for her, and I think that when you put a lot of expectations into what you want a baby to look like, whether you're getting one custom reborn for yourself or whether you're actually making one for yourself, that sometimes those expectations can be so significant that they're hard to live up to. So when I first got my Esme kit ready and started painting on her, I worked on her all weekend one weekend and got to a point that I thought I was happy with her skin tones and wanted to do like just one more color, do one more tweak or whatever. And then I did that one more tweak, and all of a sudden it was like, I don't like this at all. And I was devastated because I had such high expectations for how I wanted my Esme to look. And I was just really wringing my hands thinking, what have I done here? I have ruined my baby, and I really want her to be special, and what am I going to do? You know, do I strip her? Do I just keep going? Do I just finish her? What do I do? And so I ended up stripping all the paint off. Not something I enjoy doing. I have tendonitis in my right hand, pretty significant at times, and I also have got some other issues with some other joints. So that's one of the major reasons that I do not root hair anymore. And stripping a kit is not easily done as well because of all the scrubbing involved, and I am right-handed. So I spent hours stripping Esme kit, and let me say, she's painted with Reborn Effects paints, and those are air dry paints, and those are the paints that I predominantly use now. For anyone who's ever wondered if these are permanent paints, I can tell you without a doubt that they do not come off easily. She had been painted over the course of 72 hours, and after 72 hours, I started stripping her, and just in that amount of cure time, those paints were locked on, and I scrubbed, and I scrubbed, and I scrubbed, and it took a lot of work to get that off. So I can assure you that the Reborn Effects paints, once they start curing, they are very permanent to the vinyl. But I did get her stripped, and so then I set her aside, and then I started on her the next week, and I had in mind that I wanted to go softer with her skin tones than what I was doing in that first round. I had in mind that I wanted her to have a softer lip coloring, and that was one of the things I was just totally not happy with, was her lip coloring. And so I was able to achieve the look I wanted the second time around. And so here is baby Esme. There's a couple of other little things that happened along the way. I want to say hey right quick to Audrey. Thanks for joining us, Audrey. Gina Prachada, thanks for joining us, Gina. And Susan Johnson. Thank you for your compliment, Susan. And I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you, Gina, for your compliments as well. So after I got Esme completely painted, I decided that instead of sealing her with air dry sealer, like I had the Reborn Effects air dry sealer, I decided I did want to go ahead and seal her with Genesis, a mix of Genesis matte and varnish and satin varnish. The Genesis matte varnish is a very matte varnish, and that's why I mix it with satin to cut the flat look of it some. And it does leave a little bit of a rough texture on the vinyl, which I'm not 100% crazy about, but because I had scrubbed this vinyl so much, getting the paint off and then repainted her, she had a significant amount of sheen, and I wanted to use a product that I knew would cut all that very well. So that was one of the reasons I sealed her with the Genesis. And she turned out very nice. Another thing that I decided to do is she has full round glass eyes, and these eyes came from Axel Marks, and the color is called middle blue, I believe is what they call it. And I've used the full round glass eyes a couple of times in sculpts like that had the sockets for it, but for the sculpts that have the flat back sockets, I had not used full glass eyes. But maybe once or twice, and I ended up cutting the whole back of the socket off, and then you're left with trying to then get the eye glued in place before it moves. So that's kind of an aggravation sometimes. But someone had told me that I could take and warm the head and then cut an X in the back of the socket and then insert the eyes from the front and push them in and push the little tip of the full glass eye through the X that I had made in the back of the socket, and it would work. And it would all stay in place, and then I wouldn't have to glue the eye. So that's what I did. I was a little bit leery of inserting a whole glass eye from the front. And so I started out with this eye first. Everything went great. Then I went to do this eye, and I was having a hard time getting the eye in. And so when I finally got the eye in, I did end up on the inside having to cut my X, a few little more slits in the back of my X, and make it more like an asterisk back there so that I could get more expansion for the tip of the eye to come through. And so in doing so, I discovered, once was all said and done, that right inside of her tear duct, I had a teensy tiny little bit of a crack starting to form. And I completely panicked. I was like, oh my God, my Esme, please don't let her eye crack on me. Once I got her eyes situated, that little crack was just like the toothpick end size of a crack starting. And so it was definitely a little bit of a tear in the vinyl. So I took some crazy glue, put it on the toothpick end, and stuck that up into the crack, and carefully put the crazy glue in the crack and squeezed the eye, and it glued perfectly shut, did not ooze out, did not ruin my eye. And then I reinforced it with some sealers, and now you would never ever know it happened. I feel sure that it is very stabilized and she's fine. But it was another little panicky moment for me. So needless to say, this has not been an easy birth. But here she is. I'm kind of going in reverse order here. For those of you that, I think most everyone has seen Esme, but some of the newer collectors may not have. I've actually had people comment on my board and ask what sculpt she is. And since she has been out a little while, for those of you that have never seen her, I'm going to undress her and show you some of the unique features of Esme. So I'm going to take her headband off. Hey, Tracy, how are you doing? So glad you joined us. So she has painted hair because, as I said before, I don't root anymore. And